Hey, how's it going? It's good to see you. I hope you are doing well. Be you a new friend or old friend. I'm glad you made it here safely. For those that are new here, this is a channel that aims to be your background playlist. A place to relax, not think, and break from scrolling. Hi, I'm the Observer, and welcome to this chill session. So, I'm going to start this out by saying thank you. I truly don't know how to express the thanks for all of the support that I've seen so far. I've tried recording this section dozens of times already, and I never quite feel like it meets the degree of excitement that I'm trying to portray. The joy I feel knowing that you guys enjoy this content and hope to see more. I know many of you are newer subscribers coming in, and everyone seems to be super excited for what can come up next. And the number of comments coming in, I can't wait to really crack into responding and getting to talk to you guys a little bit more here. The overall investment, though, I'm super excited to see where we can bring this. And while I could probably sit here and try to re-record this exact section another dozen times, I feel like it'd be disingenuous to say, we don't do no outtakes here, where I sat there and failed the first section of this video. Let's go with 10 times. That's a good number to say. That being said, I do truly appreciate all of your attention and desire to see this channel grow and move forward. And hopefully we can continue having more chill sessions and moving forward to put out tons of more stuff, more background footage, and more dialogue. That being said, I've got quite a few things to go through this session. Going down to the comments section here, see that there's quite a few responses this time around, so we got some of that to crack into. In addition to that, I did some digging around and ended up going down a bit of a rabbit hole. Found some cut content for the game, as well as some unused assets and other things like that, so be bringing that up throughout. And like usual, we'll have stories as things come up and pop up. Probably go on some little tangents and ramblings here and there, so we'll just have to see. So, in no particular order, let's go ahead and crack into the first comment here. This one is coming in from Conrad. First and foremost, I gotta say I appreciate some of this high praise. The aspect that do this as a hobby and enjoying it, I gotta say it's very true. I really enjoy putting together these videos. You may see it with some of the editing snapping. I really enjoy this aspect of piecing together this intricate work of art I'd go with, even though my art's pretty subpar, maybe $4 at the local art convention. Man, I'm gonna get distracted right away. Be like story time is like, ooh, let's go to art convention conversation. No, back on topic. But yeah, no, I truly enjoy piecing these together. So I appreciate you calling that kind of stuff out. In terms of getting all bundled up after some shoveling of the snow, I can definitely agree to that kind of mindset. I've definitely had a few times being out in the snow. I can still remember a couple of years back. Man, I say a couple of years, probably been close to a decade now that I think about it. But there was one point when the snow was so high that it outscaled me in height. And I can remember having to try to shovel that out. It's like you're going like 2, 3, 4 feet up, trying to figure out where the best point to start picking away at this like wall of snow is. And I remember we had started getting it low enough that we were able to call in somebody with a plow. And mind you, it was a pickup truck with a plow in the front. But the guy decided not to go out and get sandbags ahead of time. So here he is with a snowplow in the front of his pickup and no weight in the back. Now, we thought, okay, this shouldn't be too problematic. So we're shoveling away, getting in between different vehicles and uh, going through getting stuff. And lo and behold, you see in the little private way of the driveway, here's the dude with the pickup truck begin to push. And I can't begin to express how brain stopping this was, as it almost was like time slowed down for a second as we watched the front of the pickup truck push into the snow, the wheels go forward, the back of the pickup truck go up, and all of a sudden, with like what had to have been like hundreds of pounds of snow stuck to the plow, the back of the pickup truck was straight up in the air, and it was doing a ballerina dance across the road. And just safety measures aside, that is so horrendously not OSHA approved that it was it was mind-boggling just to see a pickup truck in that kind of predicament. And I have to say that like the rear tires had to be a minimum of like 6 to 7 feet off the ground, as the whole thing was just skirting along, just like going somewhere. And finally, he was able to kind of get it stopped, and he slowly began to try to back up to lower the back wheels, and then he was able to land. And that guy got out of that cab and just he had put like the fear of God in himself. He decided to take a break, got something to drink, and then just did like light amounts of snow, like only a little bit here, a little bit there. He didn't chance it again, but yeah, no, crazy different encounters just with snow. That the stuff is both terrible and terrific. Have more snow stories, but let's finish through the comment here. Well, in terms of the getting pushed by the platform, I mean, only time will tell. I'm not so suave as to know what every single thing the algorithm wants to see in order to like push your content out to more and more people, but hopefully we can start cracking the code. But I appreciate that you'll be sticking around, and I appreciate that you'll be sticking around. I hope to see you in several videos to come, and I hope that we can keep up the dialogue. It's always good talking with you, Conrad. And looking at the video that's going on in the background here, it's actually a good time to bring up some of the cut content that I managed to find, as this is a section in which Telly is always trying to sing, and some of the stuff I found was stuff like a perfect song or record, Telly being a musician, things of that nature, and stuff like that. There's a lot of interesting, like just unused assets and images and stuff like that, and some of the differences between some of the international and the Japanese exclusive title. We'll definitely try to bring some of that up a little bit later on here. As a quick side note, something I hope we can start doing going forward, as I go through some of these comments, I may not always be able to read names properly, and I feel a bit bad for it. So I'm not doing this as a way to farm additional comments and whatnot, but something that could be super helpful is when you do go to leave a comment, if you'd like to open the dialogue by leaving the best way to pronounce the name. Otherwise, we're all going to have a fun compilation of me missaying names. Though, hopefully I can get real good at it. That being said, let's move into the next one. So, the next comment coming in here is from our friend Lishka, and she speaks of the great algorithm gods. And, I gotta say, in terms of how the algorithm tends to share its glow is a wild and crazy adventure. I remember going back a couple of years ago, some of the main ways to get attention through the algorithm was you had to have like videos that were exactly 10 minutes. And that seemed to be the greatest form of attention pulling. And then you'd start seeing like long form commentaries were the way to go. And then other points, everybody was doing live streams. And it seems like the ever growing community that is YouTube and the ecosystem tends to evolve, and what people like tends to dictate the algorithm. And you got to wonder what kind of hive mind it's built itself around. Does it just want to do whatever's trending, or is there like a certain person who sets the trend? I always got to wonder how that goes, because it seems to change at the drop of a hat. Like, I think one of the greater examples is when Luke the Notable started doing the 100 Days challenge. And then everywhere across all of YouTube, everyone was doing 100 days and just time lapsing like 1, 2, 3, 4. And I definitely got to say, using a bit of gamer terminology here, was a bit of the meta uploading strategy. Uh, Downfall of that was there was a lot of people who were cheesing their 100-day challenges by cutting out like several hundred hours of gameplay, or there were other people who would just be like skipping days in real time. Like, here's their video clip, and then it's just like, this is day one, same frame. They haven't swapped off. Now we're on day 27. It's like, how are you gonna try to pull that off? But it seems like one good idea tends to sway the entire organization of how YouTube and the algorithm works. So who knows? Maybe with this type of video, we'll actually be able to sway the algorithm our way. Who knows, though? It'd be really cool to see YouTube be a much more chill, hangout type of platform instead of the high octane and super spirits where people are throwing shade back and forth. I will say that the beef battles tend to get interesting, but some of that stuff is just like there's so much of it back and forth. Let's just all sit back, relax, and chill. So, moving on to the next comment, we have Mad Cat at Bat, and he's coming in with a double whammy. I promise I'll keep the puns to a minimum here, but he's coming in with two comments, and I'm going to address these in reverse order. Where I'm going to say, I appreciate you saying you're going to stick around and tune in for a couple of future episodes, see where things go. And wanted to address the second because the television in the field, glad to hear that one spoke out a little bit, as I really wondered how to refocus with the icons for the videos, because obviously if any of you have stopped in to look at some of the older video title cards, they're a very nice one that were done up by a close friend of mine who was helping me get something started when I'd first booted up the YouTube channel. However, I think, for a more chill, relaxed session, I felt as though I needed to find something a little bit different. So that's where I started looking on the Pixel Bay, and they were able to get a bunch of cool free use images over there. Definitely recommend you guys going over there and taking a look at some of the art that's on there. Tremendously good stuff. They offer donation pages and things like that if you like particular creators. But unpaid sponsorship aside, I really started feeling like I wanted to stick to the overall idea of the old television kind of concept, as I always feel kind of dated. And I got this enjoyment for the old TVs. Something I've always found myself doing is in the basic blocky games like Minecraft. I always make my skin some sort of TV head. And I've always been fascinated by that idea of wearing a television as a helmet. I must imagine that it comes from a lot of the early age enjoyment of watching the live show DJs. Things like Daft Punk and Deadmau5, how they always have those super intricate helmets with crazy rigs, and sometimes there's like light show systems in those. And I guess that was where the idea for helmets came in, and thus leading into old TVs, thus leading into the enjoyment for old TVs and crazy places here. Rambling aside, I'm glad to hear the images spoke out in a way that drew in some attention, and hopefully I can keep finding decent ones. I think I'll end up running out of ones from a particular creator that I've been grabbing them from, and I'm probably going to end up starting to see if I can't go out and make my own. Probably going to have to track down some sort of old TV first, but it's all a process, right? So, taking a quick break from reading comments, as it's been bugging me since I brought up stories about snow, and especially with how cold it's getting out this time of year. Got another follow-up story that involves some snow. A couple of years back, I used to do work at a gas station. I won't be putting any brand names here, so don't worry. But it was deemed as a essential job, meaning rain or shine, holiday or no, I had to go to work. This got really interesting when one year, several back now, we actually had a blizzard, and we were to a point where the governor said that nobody could be on the roads unless you were absolutely essential. And my job calls me up, so when you coming in? And I tell them I can't even get out of the driveway, let alone come get to work. And I said you'd have to come pick me up. So they said, okay, when can you be ready? So here's me now having to dig a trench out of the house throughout the whole driveway and get to the road, as here comes one of the mechanics for the station in a van. We're not talking some sort of heavy duty rig, we're talking one of those like AAA type vans that has all the battery packs in the back. And he's got the guy I'm going to be working the shift with in the front seat. I'm sent to the back, and there's not exactly a whole lot of seatbelt options back there because it's all utility space. So here I am bundled up in my heavy duty snow wear, which at that time that was like some super stay warm type of stuff. Had like 2 layers of thermal underlining. Then it had like 3 hoodies. The snow pants would go up, snow boots would go on, an over sweatshirt would then go on top of the overall snow pants, and then another jacket on top of that with like gloves, hats, face masks, because it was brutally cold and stuff out there. And I used to love wearing that set of snow wear because it was designed that any heat I could generate would get pushed out onto the clothes. And because it was also water resistant, it would get then pushed back in again. That was one of the incredible pieces to that outfit, was the jacket was one of those reflective yellow types, the super heavy duty roadside worker stuff that I was gifted. But overall, that day was interesting as we had to like go hit up Dunkin' to get coffee. And here we are trying to get onto the drive-through line. We're pulling in, and we have to do like 5 donuts in the parking lot to then straighten out to get on the line. Because that much slush and everything else in a light van, that was not a great time. But working that day, I saw maybe like 5 plows and 6 people who were going to, finger quotes, grandma's house. At least that's what I made sure they told me, because ain't nobody getting in trouble like that. but it was a weird time because it was just so brutally snow everywhere. You had to shovel every couple of minutes. And overall, like, nobody was there. It's like, I don't know why we're here. But to be able to see the entirety of my area just completely turned off. And I think the worst part about it was there was a Wendy's across the street, and you could smell the fry vats the whole day, but you couldn't get over there fast enough to then get back to make sure nobody came. So we couldn't even go. It was awful. But it was definitely a interesting day and a lot of snow. Overall, though, fun stories for the snow category. Got more, but that's just one of the ones that was nagging me. Let's get back over to the comments here. So the next comment coming in here is from a close friend and longtime helper of the channel. We have our friend Crafty Sheep. For those who haven't watched some of the older videos, Crafty Sheep is somebody I've done a lot of collaborations with. I'm going to quickly throw up a quick look on the channel and a couple of videos here that we put together. Just short compilations, don't worry. But she focuses in a lot of horror games and other types of gameplay, let's plays. So if that's the kind of content you guys are interested, I'd recommend going and take a look over there. Simple plug aside, back to her comment. Hopefully the audio this time around is a little bit louder, so that'll be a little bit less of a worry for you. But overall, it's more of a free flow and have bullet points for topics to cover. I think I set up lists ahead of time with a bunch of different topics that I'd like to cover, and then if I cover any of them, it's really impressive. But I mean, freeform I feel is just more natural, better, free flow, and then it doesn't feel like anything's too forced, like I'm not trying to push an agenda. In terms of the difference there with background noise and meaningful conversations, I think the main thing is that if people choose to actively listen into the videos versus just leaving it on the background to have as aimless noise, that there'll be a meaningful dialogue to who's paying attention. Whereas those who are just zoning out is a good opportunity, and if you choose to chime in, then maybe it's during a point where your name comes up. I think that's the focus I'm going to be aiming for, in case that was unclear. Well, I do appreciate that I can always be the forefront instead of just background noise for you. Though, I tend to imagine if I start talking about games you've never heard of, it'll become a little bit more white noisy. And sure, I will admit, maybe I'm not as old as I pretend to be, but still, I can feel old if I want to. You can't take that away from me. It always trips me up when I see some of the stuff coming up. It's like, oh, this thing is now X and X years old. It's like, oh man, it's not acceptable. And then I'll say that, and someone who's a bit older than me will be like, you wanna say some stuff now? It's like, oh, you might have been born around then, but I was going to high school. You really want to talk to me about this? I'm like, I will lose this fight with dignity and die on the next hill. Then again, I still remember getting a first cell phone forever back. I think I had just gone over for my first official sleepover. And I remember that thing is one of like the models just above the cell phones that had like, what was it, 4 buttons. One was 911, one was home, and then there was like 2 contacts, usually mom and dad. God, that was a funky technology. You know, that's one to always think about, is that they always seem to make child-proof versions of like phones and other technology before they ever put out what would become like the standardized models. And like, I don't know if baby-proofing technology was always a forefront going back further than I can remember, but at least as far as I've always known it, most stuff gets a really simplified, dulled down version, and then they elaborate later. But coming into technology now, it's like they drop in like the new iPhones, and there's no baby-proofed iPhone. There's settings on it to baby-proof it, but you're expected to know how to use those already. And it's so weird to watch as like the younger and younger generations can like open something up and instantly know how to do like computer level hacking. It's like I don't even know how to open the Microsoft PowerPoint sometimes. How the heck are you doing all that? And it's like I was born to this technology. How do you know it better than I do? But I guess it really does come down to what you specialize in and where you focus all your time. With kids, their ability to focus onto details and latch onto things is insane. I think that's where kids who play video games tend to become pros by like, what is it, 12 these days? And that by the time you're 16, you're already past your peak. It's such a weird concept to think about, that peak pro gamer is between 12 and 16. And that as you get older, your senses have to evolve and your reflexes have to become better, or else you fall way behind because your speed just goes down. So, moving on to the last comment for the video is a simple one coming over from Canal, where they comment how this video is now added to their sleep time playlist. And I gotta say, it is a real great honor to know I've been added to a sleep time playlist. In the back of my head, when I first started making these videos, that kind of was like a silent goal. And I kind of hoped that I could exude that type of energy and really be able to fit into a sleepy type of video style. And overall, I really appreciate you letting me know that you placed me in that playlist. I hope I can continue to make more videos and storytime chill sessions that are able to keep fitting that bill. And hopefully going forward I can be added to many more sleep time playlists. But I appreciate you letting me know. With that, it brings the reading comments section to a close. I want to say I appreciate every one of you leaving a comment, taking a bit of time to give me your thoughts, your feedback, some ideas and opinions. And I hope to see you guys all again, and maybe some new faces in the comment section this time. That being said, anyone, feel free to leave a comment, like, and if you enjoy this type of content and want to see more stuff in the future, I'd say subscription is probably the best route. But overall, I appreciate every one of you. And again, toning back to previous said before, I appreciate you all helping me with the growth of this channel. And I can't wait to see where we can go with this type of stuff. And well, taking that extra minute to do the big three might be a small gesture from you. It becomes a massive one on my end. And YouTube loves to remind us all of that. Algorithm, God bless. Once again, I just want to say thanks for stopping by for this chill session and coming to hang out with me for a little bit. Hopefully, we're able to keep the thoughts at bay and maybe have some interesting stories along the way. Overall, though, looking at the time here, it seems like I'm getting to the end of my ramblings and can't keep this on forever. But I appreciate everybody stopping by. I hope that I was able to improve upon some of the requests and thoughts of everyone from the comments this time to the comments last time, and was able to fill in a few extra gaps and get some extra stuff going. Hopefully I can delve into some more cut content in the following episodes. But overall, I think we're really getting somewhere with it, at least the game side of things. Overall, good stuff. And, well, I hope to see you again. And remember, no stress, be chill, and see you again next time. Until then, take care.